I would not be sure if I was on the right path. Like I'd constantly be changing my focus and worrying about money was a massive one. It was pretty dark. There were times where I was like, I should probably just end my life because what's the point? Like, I knew that it was a problem and I knew you were the right person to fix it. I also just started enjoying things a bit more and just feeling really happy. The performance of the business and the feeling around the business and the certainty has just like gone whoop.
Imagine for a moment if you could raise your level of consciousness by identifying the exact ways in which you hold yourself back, the exact ways in which you store unconscious, self-sabotaging, limiting beliefs. Well, today we're going to speak with John Stewart out of the UK, who has done exactly this. Now, he's finished the Self Mastery Accelerator program, and in so doing, he has completely changed his relationship with life and business. So today we're going to speak with him and learn directly from him what he was dealing with, the kinds of self-talk that was going on previously, the kinds of limiting beliefs that he had before, lack of direction, uncertainty, and everything else. And he's going to share with you exactly what life and business is like now.
My name's John. I am from the UK, south of the UK. I've been running a business, which is originally a video production business, since about 2012. And then about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I started doing, actually no, a year and a half, I started doing loads of business coaching to try and morph the business and make it successful, because I'd been kind of struggling for a really long time. And it's since morphed into a marketing business. So it's a online marketing for tech and SaaS companies.
And before you started the coaching program, what kinds of mindset challenges were you experiencing, and how are they affecting your life and business, would you say?
Yeah, a lot for a very long time, and they're affecting it negatively. So the main ones, it was complete uncertainty about a load of things. I would not be sure if I was on the right path. Like I'd constantly be changing my focus. So I'd one week I'd be like, oh, video is actually the solution. I'll go with the video. The next week I'd be like, actually, no, I need to go back to LinkedIn advertising, and all over the place.
Yeah.
Constant uncertainty as to whether it would actually work. Uncertainty as to whether I had what it takes. Like I thought other people who had successful businesses had something in them that I just did not have, and I couldn't generate that. Then in addition to sort of negative mindset around the business, I also had negative personal mindset. Like I had some really dark negative thoughts, just kind of linked to the business in terms of success, and worrying about money was a massive one. So yeah, it felt quite heavy at the time.
I know self-talk was a component for you, like self-talk was an issue, and you were starting to notice like the thoughts that were just running on autopilot. Could you kind of share a bit of details to like what you were noticing and stuff like that with regards to self-talk?
Yeah. So in reference to the business, it was very much like, this is never going to work. I should give up. If it hasn't happened yet, it's never going to happen. Why is everyone else seeing success and I'm not? Why do other people have this thing and I don't have the thing? What is the thing? And then in regards to personal, it was pretty dark. There were times where I was like, I should probably just end my life because what's the point? Like, if it's always going to be like this, if it's always going to be a struggle, if I'm never going to make it. And that was pretty consistent, not something I'd act on. But like, it's not something you want to have rattling around in your head for long periods of time.
How long would you say this was going on for?
2 to 3 years, pretty consistently. I saw some success with the business through luck. I mean, that happens sometimes. And I saw a lot of success not by doing much work. I just got lucky. And the thoughts didn't exist then. But then when everything went to shit, then they came in. And I was like, well, if I make the money, then it will resolve the problem. The thoughts will go away. I've since realized that's not the case. But so ever since the business went on a downward spiral, there were even like points where it got to a really low point whereby I couldn't pay my tax bill. And I was super depressed. I ended up going to the doctors and I like broke down in tears in the doctor's surgery. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is hell. And they put me on antidepressants, which I didn't stay on. But yeah, for quite a long time, it was pretty dark.
If you think back to this time before you started the program, do you remember when you had your line in the sand moment, like what was it for you when you're like, okay, enough, you hit that moment, you're like, enough is enough. I have to like see how I can get this resolved. Because there's always that moment when someone hits, like they've been experiencing whatever it is for as long as it has been going on for, and then they tolerate it because it's part of their comfort zone, and then they hit kind of a rock bottom, so to speak, where they just decide like this is no longer acceptable. Like what was that moment like for you?
There were kind of a few of them. I don't know which one you can talk about the original one, or there have been stages and steps. The first one was at that point, which I struggled to place it, but I think it was about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years, where I couldn't pay my bills, in terms of like I had a massive tax bill and I had that breakdown. And that was definitely rock bottom. If I look at my whole life, that's probably the lowest I've ever been. Just bad. And at that point in time, I made a decision that I was going to give the business one more year. And if it didn't work, I was going to quit and get a salary job because I just couldn't handle it anymore. Then COVID hit, and that's not good for or the original 2 months wasn't good for anyone's business. So I ended up being like, well, this is just how it is. That's fine. And then during that time, I started business coaching, in terms of practical business coaching for restructuring it. And there was a moment in time I specifically remember being like, I am going to fix this. I'm going to start coaching. And that was a business coach that I used, and that started to turn things around. And then it improved, and there was a period of time about 2-3 months ago when we started, probably just over 3 months ago, where I was driving in the car to do some work, and I felt really frustrated because I was like, I know everything I have to do now. I have all of the knowledge I need, but it's still not fucking working. Sorry for swearing. It's still not working, and I couldn't figure it out. And I just remember my brain, it was like a 4-hour car journey. My brain was just all this negative self-talk the whole way. And I pulled over into a service station, and I messaged my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, I've been speaking to that Zack guy. I'm going to do his course because I can't keep doing this. Like, and that was a decision I made. And to be fair, from that moment until when we started and then onwards, it just bam, it like completely flipped. Even having all the knowledge. So yeah, that's kind of what happened in stages in terms of changing that.
Wow, that's it, man. Because so many people they'll often get to a point where they say, "Is my problem like structure, strategy related?"
Yeah.
Or what part of it is mindset related? And sometimes people will go the first direction of saying, well, I need to learn strategy and structure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they go, okay, well, I've learned what I've learned. I know more now than I did before. I know what I need to do, yet still here I am.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of what you're describing there too.
And I knew in the back of my mind, I knew there was a mindset problem. Like I just knew there was a mindset problem. And since things have changed, since we've been through stuff, we've been through everything, I haven't learned anything new, but the performance of the business and the feeling around the business and the certainty has just like gone whoop, with no extra knowledge. I do think that I needed both of those things, the knowledge and the mindset. But yeah, I think that combo is what has made things start to really go on the up.
Yeah, exactly. Because now you're effectively, you've gotten out of your own way. So you're able to execute on the knowledge that you have, like the business strategy and structure and so on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about results, Sean. So what shifts have you noticed throughout the program right now? And how would you describe that impacting your life and business?
So the shifts, it didn't take that long. It honestly, 2 weeks.
Quick.
Yeah, it was like 1 or 2 weeks from like utter despair and those seriously negative thoughts to like, everything's actually okay. And then I thought, well, this can't last. This is like, and then it just did. And I was like, oh, and now it's just, that's how things are, which is quite nice. What was the other part of the question?
Yeah. So describe the shifts like you're describing. And then how have you noticed, like, how would you describe the tangible impact that this has made in your business?
Yeah. So that's what the shift happened. It just, all of that negative stuff just stopped. Don't get me wrong, occasionally, but like I knew how to deal with it. So it wasn't as big a deal when it did happen at all. Then in addition to that, I just felt this level of certainty about things. Like for example, there was one moment I said before, I kept on flitting between like the solution should be providing, what audience should I be providing it to. Quite quickly after we started, I just knew what the solution was, and I haven't wavered from that since, which is the longest I've stuck to something like that, and it's really starting to work now. So they're kind of the shifts that happened. I also just started enjoying things a bit more and just feeling really happy, like,
Yeah.
and the shifts are just, I suppose, stability and security in a way. Like, I know that what I'm trying to achieve is going to happen now, whereas before I was like, probably not. Whereas now I'm like, I know it's going to happen. It's just time. I've never had that certainty before. That's quite nice. And also, money wise, one of the original things that sort of made me hit rock bottom was when money was really bad. And I've had bad, I mean, it's business, there's ups and downs. I've had bad months, and it hasn't affected me. Like, I haven't made enough. I have a minimum turnover that I need to hit for the business and personal life. I didn't hit it one month, and I didn't like break down. It was absolutely fine. I just kept on going as if I would have, if things were going perfect. So I felt quite comfortable with that, and it has been fine, like absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's way more calm and less stressful, way less stressful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of things really stood out to me in addition to what you just shared here. The last time we spoke,
yeah,
when I had asked you, I said, so what's going on now with regards to like the self-talk, for example? And I was kind of recounting what we had discussed at the very beginning of coaching. I was like, do you remember you were saying this to me? You were thinking this way, and you kind of responded with just laughter. Like, that just sounds kind of weird. Like, I don't even, it seems alien to me is what you'd said at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's accurate. Yeah.
And then the other one too is what you just described was, even when things aren't going the way that I'd like them to externally in the business, I don't feel like I'm affected by them mentally, emotionally, because you said, I just have this certainty that it's going to succeed, that I'm going to succeed, that things are going to go the way I want them to, even though they're currently objectively not. Like, in the moment when you had said that, you said, I just know they're going to work. And then very shortly after, you hit me up and you're like, here it comes.
Yeah.
And then it started to roll in. You're like, I just knew this would happen.
It was like the day later, and I was like, oh, call booked in. Oh, new client at 1K a month. And I was like, oh, there you go. And then it's like upsells, and then we're getting more calls in. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still not where I want it to be from my objectives in terms of monetary turnover, but I'm like, I'm pretty certain that's going to happen, because it is. So it's like, yeah.
Oftentimes people experience hesitancy, right, when they're considering joining a new coaching program or starting something new. Did you run into anything like that? Any kind of doubt about making the right decision or fear?
No, not really. I knew that it was a problem, and I knew you were the right person to fix it. Like, I had it in my head that I was going to be using you for like 3 or 4 months before I started using you. I was just like, I know I'm going to use Zack. It's just when I can do it. And it was financial. Well, it was kind of financial. It was like, firstly, I needed the buffer, like, so that I could afford to pay for the coaching and then also just live my life. And then part of it was I was kind of a bit hesitant as to the return I would see off it, because when you invest in some other things, you're like, if I invest in a sales course, sales increase, I make more money, then I can invest in Zack. And I had a really good month, and I was like, well, I've got quite a lot of excess money. I need to do this. So I just prioritized you above everything else. And honestly, I don't feel I need any more coaching right now anyway. So it's kind of, if you think about it, saved a bit more money. Yeah, no, not really. No real hesitancy. I knew it was going to happen.
How about surprises? Have there been any kind of surprises that you didn't anticipate before the start? Things that you encounter that you go, oh, this is new. I didn't expect this. Like throughout the coaching program, I mean.
I don't know. At the time, I would have said yes. Physically, I've changed, like through action, but like I was going to the gym quite a lot. Nothing really happened. I was sort of plateaued. But since starting, I've had more of a part of my visualization has been around like becoming a better person, a better like version of myself, I guess. And part of that is obviously being like basically ripped and better at the gym and everything. And I've lost loads of weight. Like I put on weight because of COVID. That's all gone or going. And then the gym's going better. I can see that improving. So there have been physical changes. What else? And I've just found myself being quite happy at times, like really enjoying things. Like I was walking to my car the other morning and I was just like 6 a.m. or something stupid. And I was like, hey, I'm really happy. And I was just like, why the hell am I happy? I didn't know why. There was no reason for it. So just stuff like that. Yeah.
That's a nice surprise. Just happiness for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about your experience of the actual coaching approach?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I thought it was really, go on.
Well, what I mean by that is, was it harder than you thought, more simple than you expected? Yeah. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was way more simple. But I've come to learn, and this is, I suppose, a surprise, learning that this applies to pretty much everything, is that it's insanely simple. It's just the execution that matters. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you just
say about that.
Yeah, no, it's so true. If you just do what you're guided and coached to do, you just enable yourself to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one thing that you did super well.
Yeah.
Your level of commitment and execution and consistency with execution was so good. It was at such a high level that every time that we would meet, you would just report for me more and more progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have done it without you. Like some of that stuff I was aware of because I have an interest in everything you teach anyway. And I've read loads of books and like been into meditation, and I have this general awareness of a lot of the principles you were speaking about anyway. But again, that was knowledge I had. It didn't make any difference. I think I don't know what it was that made it different. Either the fact that you had just made it really simple, or the fact that I was accountable to you for a certain period of time that got me through a threshold. Because obviously you're not coaching me. I know it hasn't been that long, but you're not coaching me still. And I'm still doing all that stuff. I can't see myself. It's part of my routine. It's just part of what I do every day. So, yeah.
If you had the opportunity to speak to yourself, right, before you started coaching, what would you say to that version of you now? Like, what would you say to yourself if you had that opportunity?
I'd probably just say it's all going to be okay. Back then, I didn't believe it was going to be, if I'm being honest. Like, I was like, this is probably not going to work. I don't know, like, because the negative talk was so negative. It was kind of hopelessness, I guess. I felt kind of hopeless. So I'd just say, it's going to be okay, I suppose. Yeah. And I would obviously tell them to do the fucking course a bit earlier. But I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe it worked out exactly as it should have done, but yeah.
John, it's been such a joy to coach with you.
Yeah, I've loved it, man.
And what I will say is the difference that makes the difference, and this is for anyone watching this interview right now, and you're considering starting mindset coaching for yourself, and you're asking yourself, well, why do some people get the results that they go into these programs wanting, and why do some people not? It's because, and John, you're a great example of this, is that you just did the work. Why you won and why you made it look so easy is because you just did. And I remember even saying that to you at a certain point throughout the program, going, yeah, John, you're just so good at taking action. And you're like, well, yeah, that's why that's the only way in which anyone gets any kind of results is if they just do the thing.
Yeah, basically. And that is something that has been more prevalent in the business as well. Like my lead generation was inconsistent as hell. Whereas now it's just like, well, I know I just need to send some Loom videos to someone. I just need to reach out to people and it's going to come to me. Like it's kind of helped me apply that same principle to other things. And again, even though I knew that, I don't know, just sort of clicked.
Yeah. Well, awesome, John. Congrats, brother. I'm happy for you. Keep winning. I'll be watching your success.
Yeah, man.
And we'll speak to you soon, brother.